I just realized I've been squinting this whole video because the lighting in here sucks. What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, welcome. Today is going to be another challenge weekly recap video. So we're recapping episode 7. So if you saw my last video, you know that episode didn't end with an elimination. It ended after the last challenge. So that's where this episode is starting off. So basically this episode is going to be filled with drama surrounding Jenna and Zach mostly, and pretty much just trying to figure out strategy going forward. So for example, Jordan and Tori are already back to deliberating how they're going to get Tori into the elimination to win and earn her red skull. However, Jenna is still conflicted about whether or not she wants to leave or if she should stay and keep competing. Essentially what's happening is that Tori is thinking, oh, if Jenna wants to leave, you know, maybe I could just go in against her and she'll purposely lose, and so Tori will get to earn her red skull. So pretty much conversations like that are still happening. Jenna, Nany, and Kayla are talking about what's going to happen, what Jenna wants to do, because as you know, those three are really close friends. However, you'll notice in the conversation, it seems like Kayla and Nany are kind of like doubting Jenna. Like they're making comments like, oh, well, if it's a puzzle, you're not gonna go in. Or if it's a hall brawl or something super physical, you're not gonna go in. And Jenna calls them out and says like, hey, like, why are you guys saying that? And as a reminder, Jenna is in the tribunal, so she pretty much has a say if she wants to go in or not. One possible idea that Kayla and Nany threw out there were that maybe the tribunal could vote in Jenny to go against Tori if Tori gets voted in by the house. So, you know, a lot of the times when they're doing their voting, they're voting in someone that doesn't want to go in, but Tori wants to go in. So since she's not in the tribunal, she thinks, okay, maybe the whole house can just vote for me and I'll get in. And so they're thinking, okay, well, let's pair Tori against someone that's strong like Jenny so that you're getting one of two really good players out. Although Kayla is really good friends with Nany and Jenna, it's just weird to me a little bit that Kayla is kind of seeming like she has a say. Like she wants to be involved in the decision making even though she didn't earn the right to. For some reason, Nelson feels like he has to bring up something about Jenna during this deliberation. He pretty much says that he thinks that people are voting in Tori just because they want her to go against Jenna. Essentially, he's calling the house out, saying that they're most likely going to be giving Tori a red skull for doing nothing. So Kayla jumps in and is defending Jenna and saying that she's not just going to throw away an elimination. So for some reason, Kayla and Nelson get into it. Nelson just being disrespectful as usual. So now that that drama is over, we're gonna talk about more drama that happens when they go out for the night. So it seems like each episode they do feature like a night out. So everyone's out drinking, having a good time, and Nany is kind of flirting with Casey a little bit. Now, one thing I want to point out here that I've seen on like Twitter and things like that, people are saying that Nany is just drunk, that Nany is straight, but she's only acting interested in Casey because she's been drinking. However, I have just been binge watching old challenge seasons on Prime Video, and I forget what season it was. I think it is, what is it? I believe it's Rivals 2. I believe it's Rivals 2. Nany was hooking up with Marlon, who's actually bisexual, and Nany said that her connection with people is built on the person themselves. So Nany actually has a history of being with, whether romantically or just physically, with someone else that was bisexual. So I don't think that Nany is just acting this way because she's been drinking. I think sometimes also when you drink alcohol, you're more likely to be your true self, or you're just less shameful of it, or you're just bold. So the fact that she's doing that, I don't think is a problem. The only problem with it is the fact that Casey has a girlfriend. And I don't know if Nany's aware of this or not, but regardless, Casey pretty much shuts that down right away. Nany is kind of just like, okay, whatever, gonna go to the bathroom. Anissa steps in, she's talking to Casey, trying to almost intervene and say like, hey, be careful. And Casey's kind of like, thanks, I appreciate your help, but I already know, like, I'm here to win money, not cheat on my girlfriend. So Casey seems to have it under control. However, Nany is not happy that Anissa is saying these comments, so they start getting into it, and really what I mean is Nany just starts freaking out on her. So this continues at the bar and back at the house. Nany is just on another level. Nany even throws her noodles at her. The next morning, she doesn't even realize all what she said to Anissa, but she did say some really hurtful things. And she just says to Anissa that she's sorry for whatever happened. She apologizes. However, she does like use the phrase, whatever I said, you know, I didn't mean it. So I don't think she really knows all the harm she did, but Anissa seems to be pretty forgiving and just lets it go. So when it comes time for the tribunal to nominate their 3 people that they want to interview, they nominate Dee because Jordan is in the tribunal. Jordan, Tori's fiance. So Jordan is still kind of salty about Dee and Tori's little beef that they have going on, and so Jordan wants Dee as one of the nominations. Then they vote Kayla in as one of the nominations because Kayla is their friend, Jenna and Nany's friend. So, you know, if Kayla feels comfortable, maybe she could go in and earn her red skull. And then finally, they just throw in Big T as their 3rd person. So here is where the drama happens. It comes time for the Purgatory Elimination, and everyone walks up. Tori knows she's going in, so she's pumped. And it comes time to decide who they're going to throw in, and Jenna nominates herself. This could go either way. So I think some people are shocked that she nominated herself because who wants to go against Tori? But I think the other half of people are like, oh, she's just nominating herself to basically, you know, throw it away. However, Jenna defends herself and says, you know what, if I go in there and I prove myself and earn a red skull, that gives me a reason to stay here and keep fighting and not go home because of Zach's drama. So the purpose of this elimination is pretty much throwing down these big blocks of material onto a grate. The harder you throw the material down, the more debris is going to fall underneath into a wheelbarrow, and then essentially they're taking that wheelbarrow over to a container and dumping in the debris, and then the first person that fills up the debris to the red line will be the winner. They both start out strong. Jenna starts out really strong. She has a pretty good technique going, pretty much just slamming down these blocks as hard as they can, whereas Tori seems like she's wanting to get as much debris in there as possible no matter how she does it. So she's not slamming as hard at first. She's kind of just pressing the debris down through, and Jordan is like yelling at her this whole time, and I could see how that can be kind of confusing because you're trying to focus on what you're doing. You have your fiance yelling instructions at you, and then probably everyone else yelling just because of the excitement. So I can see how it could be kind of confusing. So long story short, Tori does not start off with the best technique, which I think in the long run is what hurt her. As you know, Jenna ended up winning the elimination very, very slightly. You know, people are shocked, but Jordan seems very, very upset. Tori is keeping it together, even though I'm sure she's very upset that she lost. She's saying like, hey, you know, I tried my best, don't make me feel bad. Because Jordan is saying like, you didn't listen, you didn't listen, you didn't listen. And so if that was me, I would feel really bad. But I think Tori just wants to comfort Jordan because he's gonna stay there by himself without her, but also she's just trying to stay strong and have a brave face on, even though she's probably really upset. So before the episode ends, at the very end of the elimination, as Tori's going home, Jenna is saying her goodbyes to Tori and says, hey, will you please reach out to Zach for me and let him know I never cheated on him, you know, none of the things that he's saying is true, and that I'm here to win the money. So overall, Tori seems like she has a really good attitude about losing, and Jenna seems like she's excited to stay. Overall, let me know your thoughts below. Were you surprised that Jenna nominated herself? And then on top of that, were you surprised that she won? If you've watched the challenge for numerous seasons, you'll know that Jenna actually has a pretty good record in eliminations, and she's also made it to a couple finals. Although she's never won the challenge in first place, she's a pretty good competitor. But that is it for this week's recap of the challenge. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video.